Your focus is not your own. It is stolen by the noise, the drama, and the chaos of others. You absorb the anger of your colleagues. You internalize the anxiety of the news. You react to everything and act on nothing. Stop. This ends now. This is the mental framework for witnessing chaos and conflict without allowing it to penetrate your inner peace. This is not about being cold, it is about being unbreakable. Listen closely. Your training begins now. Chapter 1. You are a sponge, not a stone. Listen to me. Pay close attention. Before we can build anything, we must clear the foundation. And your foundation is compromised. It is soft, porous, and weak. You are a sponge. You walk through your day believing you are in control, yet you are not. You are a product of your environment in the worst possible way. You absorb everything. The tension in a boardroom. The manufactured outrage of a news headline. The passive-aggressive sigh from a coworker. The quiet desperation of the person next to you on the train. You soak it all up, and you wonder why you are exhausted. You wonder why your focus is shattered. You wonder why your mission feels so far away. It is because your mind is not your own. It has become a public utility, open to any and all emotional contamination. This is the default human condition, the sponge mindset, and it is killing your potential. Let me be clear. You are absorbing, not observing. There is a fundamental difference. Observation is an act of intelligence. It is detached analysis. It is gathering data without becoming the data. Absorption is an act of surrender. It is allowing the external to become your internal. It is an undisciplined, unconscious weakness. When you watch the news and feel a surge of directionless anger, you are absorbing. When you sit in a meeting and another person's anxiety becomes your own, you are absorbing. When you scroll through social media and feel the phantom sting of someone else's envy, you are absorbing. You are not a participant in your own life. You are a psychic dumping ground for the emotional waste of the world. Think about your workplace. You have seen this. One person walks in with a thundercloud over their head. They complain about the traffic. They criticize a decision they weren't a part of. They inject that low-grade poison into the atmosphere. Within an hour, the entire team is infected. Productivity plummets. Creativity dies. The mission is forgotten, replaced by a fog of shared negativity. This is emotional contagion. It is a plague, and the sponge is the perfect host. Now, picture a different person in that same room. The one who acknowledges the complaint with a nod, but does not internalize it. The one who sees the frustration, but does not adopt it. The one who remains locked on the objective, their energy completely preserved. This person is not a sponge. They are a stone. The waves of external emotion crash against them and break, while they remain solid, unmoved, and focused. The stone observes the storm, but is not the storm. You are absorbing, not observing. And until you fix this, nothing else I teach you will matter. Your best plans, your most disciplined habits, will all be washed away by the next emotional tide you fail to block. It's not about being cold. It's not about being unfeeling. It's about discipline. It is about choosing where to invest your finite emotional and mental energy. Do you invest it in your mission, or do you donate it to the random, chaotic noise of others? You have a choice. Right now, you are making that choice by default. You are choosing to be weak. You are choosing to be a sponge. That ends today. This is your first command. You must recognize this programming within yourself. You must see it, name it, and reject it. This is not who you are. This is a weakness that was conditioned into you. It is a flaw in the code, and you are going to rewrite it. The first step is a declaration. It is the drawing of a line in the sand. I want you to repeat this right now with intent. My mind is not a public space. Say it again. My mind is not a public space. This is the foundational truth you have forgotten. Your mind is sovereign territory. It is the command center for your entire life. Allowing anyone and anything to dump their emotional garbage, there is an act of treason against yourself. You don't need their permission to build a wall. You don't need to apologize for protecting your focus. Your mental and emotional sovereignty is not negotiable. That's the key. From this moment forward, you will guard the gates of your mind with lethal force. This is the first layer of armor. The decision to stop absorbing and start observing. To see the emotion in others for what it is. Their data, not your reality. You will learn to watch the storm from behind a fortress wall, not stand in the open field and pray you don't get struck by lightning. You are not a sponge, designed to soak up the filth of the world. You are a stone, designed to withstand the flood. It is time you started acting like it. Everything begins here. The choice to stop being a passive receptacle and become an active, impenetrable force. Your first task is complete. You have recognized the enemy. You have claimed your ground. But a declaration is not a fortress. Now, we must learn how to build the walls. That is our next mission. Now, prepare for Chapter 2, the architecture of your inner citadel. Chapter 2, build the glass wall. The observer's mandate, listen to me. The world will try to break you with its noise. Your boss, your clients, your competitors. They will hurl their chaos at you, expecting you to absorb it. They want you to feel their panic, to share their anger, to drown in their drama. Your default programming tells you to react, to defend, to feel. That programming is a liability. Today we overwrite it. We install a new protocol. It is called the glass wall. This is not a metaphor for hiding. This is a command for clarity. The glass wall is a visualization tool, your first and most critical line of defense. When chaos erupts, you are to immediately construct, in your mind, a wall of thick, soundproof glass between you and the source of that chaos. You are on one side, in absolute stillness. They are on the other side, in their storm. You can see everything with perfect clarity, but you feel nothing of their emotional turmoil. Their panic, their rage, their desperation. It all becomes data on a screen. You see it, but you do not absorb it. Let's make this practical. Your boss calls you into their office. They received a complaint from a client. The criticism is unfair, based on a misunderstanding. Their voice is raised. Their face is flushed. They use words like unacceptable and disappointing. The old you would have immediately felt the sting. Your heart rate would climb. Adrenaline would flood your system. Your mind would race with defenses, justifications, and counter-attacks. You would be entering their storm. Not anymore. The moment the attack begins, you give the command, build the glass wall. Instantly, it is there. Now, watch what happens. The boss's raised voice is no longer an assault. It is a measurable decibel level. The flush in their face is not a threat. It is a biological reaction, a piece of data. The words unacceptable and disappointing are no longer personal stings. They are simply text appearing on the other side of the glass. You are no longer a participant in their drama. You are an observer of their data. Your new mantra is drilled into you now, and you will repeat it until it is an automatic response. Observe the data. Ignore the drama. Say it again. Observe the data. Ignore the drama. This is your primary duty. Let me be clear. Your mandate is not to calm their seas. It is not your job to manage their emotional incompetence or join them in their panic. You don't need their permission to maintain your own composure. Your primary, non-negotiable duty is to protect your own clarity. That's the key. From that fortress of clarity, you can decide and act. From inside their storm, you can only react and fail. You have a choice. You can let their poison in, or you can watch it harmlessly splash against the glass. It's not about being cold. It's about discipline. It's not about apathy. It's about precision. The emotionally undisciplined person sees the boss's anger and immediately thinks, I'm in trouble. I must defend myself. The disciplined operator sees the same anger and thinks, he is compromised by emotion. The data he is presenting is likely skewed. I will wait for the storm to pass, collect the objective facts, and then present a solution. See the difference. One is a victim. The other is a strategist. Observe the data. The data is their exact words, stripped of emotional charge. The data is their tone of voice, which tells you about their state, not yours. The data is their body language. Are they posturing? Are they genuinely distressed or just performing? This is all crucial intelligence. Ignore the drama. The drama is their need for you to feel what they feel. The drama is their attempt, conscious or not, to make their problem your problem. The drama is the story they are telling themselves, the blame they are casting, the emotional charge they are trying to offload onto you. You will not accept it. It stops at the glass. This technique must become your natural reflex. When a project explodes, build the wall. When a partner is panicking, build the wall. When the market turns against you, build the wall. The wall allows you to separate the event from the emotional story that people attach to the event. Once you can do that, you are in control. You can see the chessboard clearly while your opponent is just knocking over the pieces in a rage. Your job is to observe, decide, and act from a position of absolute stillness. Let them rage. Let them panic. Let them flail. You will stand behind your glass, watching, analyzing, and waiting for the precise moment to make your move. A move born not of reaction, but of cold hard. Dispassionate observation. This is the source of your power. You are not suppressing emotion, you are refusing to be governed by someone else's. Your internal state is your sovereign territory, and the glass wall is its impenetrable border. This is the observer's mandate. Protect your clarity above all else. Observe the data. Ignore the drama. Master this and you become untouchable. Fail, and you will forever be a puppet, pulled by the emotional strings of others. The glass wall is your fortress. It protects your clarity from the emotional assaults of the outside world. But a fortress is useless if the commander inside it has no strategy. Now that you can see the battlefield without the fog of chaos, you must learn to direct your energy. You must learn to aim before you fire. That is our next mission. That is Chapter 3. Weaponize your focus, aim before you fire. Chapter 3. The high cost of other people's weather. We need to conduct an audit. A brutal, honest accounting of where your life force is going. I'm talking about your focus, your energy, your time, and your sound judgment. These are your most valuable assets, and every single day, you are allowing them to be stolen. You are paying a tax you never agreed to. The tax of emotional absorption. Every moment you spend reacting to someone else's emotional storm is a moment you are not advancing your own goals. Every minute you waste calming their manufactured panic is a minute you are not building your own empire. Their chaos is a direct withdrawal from your account of potential, and the balance is getting dangerously low. Let me make this clear. We will call it what it is: second-hand stress. Think about it. Just like second-hand smoke. You don't have to participate to be poisoned. You just have to be in the room. You walk into the office, and a colleague is spiraling about a deadline. You take a call, and a family member is catastrophizing a minor inconvenience. You scroll through your feed, and you are bombarded with performative outrage. You are passively inhaling the anxiety, the drama, the negativity of others. And it is killing your performance. It is clouding your judgment. It is suffocating your ambition. You think you're being supportive. You think you're being a good friend, a good colleague, a good person. What you are actually being is a sponge for poison. Their crisis is not your concern. Their poor planning, their emotional incontinence, their lack of perspective. These are their problems to solve. By absorbing their stress, you solve nothing. You create 2 victims instead of 1. This is where the work begins. It starts with a declaration, a mantra, a non-negotiable command you will burn into your mind. You will repeat it when the phone rings with manufactured drama. You will repeat it when a coworker runs to your desk with their hair on fire. You will repeat it when the world screams for your emotional reaction. Say it with me. Their emergency is not my emergency. Again, their emergency is not my emergency. This is not a suggestion. This is your new reality. This statement is the shield that protects your internal climate. Other people are walking weather patterns. Some are a gentle breeze. Most are unpredictable storms, hurricanes of their own making. You must learn to separate their emotional weather from your internal forecast. While they are drenched in a downpour of their own anxiety, you will remain calm and clear. Your mission requires it. This isn't about being callous. It's about being effective. It's not about being cold. It's about being disciplined. You cannot put out their fire if you allow them to set you on fire first. You cannot offer a lifeline if you are drowning alongside them. Your first responsibility is to your own stability. From that position of strength, you can choose to act effectively, but reacting emotionally. That is a luxury you can no longer afford. You have a choice. You can be a sponge, or you can be a rock. The sponge gets saturated and heavy, useless. The rock provides a stable place for others to find their footing, while the water of their chaos simply flows around it. That's the key. To become the rock. Every day presents a test. The test is to hold your ground. Your boss is stressed about a presentation. You observe it. You do your part. You do not absorb it. Their emergency is not my emergency. A friend is in a panic about their relationship. You can offer perspective. You do not get pulled into the drama. Their emergency is not my emergency. The news cycle tries to hijack your outrage. You see it for what it is, a business model designed to steal your focus. You disengage. You don't need their permission to protect your mind. Their emergency is not my emergency. Protect your climate at all costs. Your mind is the one command center you have absolute control over. Letting someone else's weather system dictate your internal state is an act of profound self-betrayal. It's handing over the keys to the kingdom to anyone who happens to be having a bad day. You would never let a random stranger walk into your house and throw your furniture around. So why do you let their mental and emotional garbage clutter your mind? This requires vigilant, conscious effort. You must become a gatekeeper. You must decide what is allowed in and what is turned away at the door. Their anxiety, turned away. Their gossip, turned away. Their baseless panic, denied entry. This is your sovereign territory. Your focus is sacred. Your energy is a finite resource dedicated to your purpose. Wasting it on second-hand stress is mission failure. From this moment forward, you will see it everywhere. You will notice how eagerly people try to hand you their burdens. You will see how comforting it is for them to make their emergency your emergency. Refuse the transaction. You don't need their permission to say no. A simple, detached observation is all that is required. You can be professional. You can be civil. But you will not be a participant in their downward spiral. Their emergency is not my emergency. This must become your automatic response. It is the filter through which all external noise must pass. If it does not serve your mission, it does not get through. Period. In this chapter, we have performed the audit. We have identified the silent killer of your potential second-hand stress. You now understand the high cost of other people's weather. You have been given the shield, the command that will protect your focus and preserve your energy. Their emergency is not my emergency. This is how you reclaim your internal climate. But reclaiming your inner world is only the first step. A protected state of calm is useless if it doesn't fuel output. You have cleared the space. Now you must fill it with relentless, productive effort. Defense is not enough, we must go on the attack. That brings us to Chapter 4, the mandate of action. Chapter 4. Silence the siren song of validation. There is a poison that runs deeper than any other. A weakness that can cripple the strongest among you. It's an addiction sold to you as a virtue. A vulnerability disguised as connection. It is the craving for validation. The desperate, needy hunger for the approval of others. Listen to me. Every time you post about your grind, every time you explain your vision, every time you fish for a compliment on your progress, you are handing over the keys to your internal kingdom. You are making yourself a puppet, and you are begging the world to pull your strings. You allow their applause to make you feel strong, and their silence or criticism to make you feel weak. You have outsourced your self-worth to a committee of people who do not care about your success. This ends now. That weakness must be burned out of your system. You have a choice. You can continue to be the court jester, performing for scraps of validation, or you can become the sovereign, building an empire in silence. We will now learn the principle of the master builder, working in silence. The most powerful individuals, the ones who truly change the world and their own lives, do not build with an audience. They labor in the dark. They are driven by an internal blueprint, by uncompromising personal standards, not by the fickle cheers of the crowd. Why? Because the work is the proof. The result is the verdict. Every moment you spend seeking approval is a moment you are not working. Every ounce of energy invested in managing the perceptions of others is energy stolen from the mission itself. You are trying to get credit for a check you haven't cashed yet. Stop it. The real work, the grueling work, the work that forges greatness, happens when no one is watching. It happens in the lonely hours, when the only thing driving you is your own commitment. You don't need their permission. You don't need their understanding. You certainly don't need their applause. Their opinion is the most worthless currency on earth. It cannot fuel your ambition. It cannot sharpen your skills. It cannot pay your bills. Let them talk. Let them judge. Let them misunderstand. You will be too busy working to notice. The work is the proof. The result is the verdict. It's not about being secretive. It's about the discipline of focus. It's not about arrogance. It's about the discipline of self-reliance. When you build in silence, you are not hiding your work. You are protecting it. You are protecting it from the corrosive acid of doubt, from the empty calories of premature praise, and from the distracting noise of unsolicited advice. That's the key. You insulate the mission from the chaos of the outside world. Your focus becomes absolute. Your energy becomes a laser. The only feedback that matters is reality. Does the plan work? Does the business turn a profit? Does the body get stronger? The result is the verdict, and it is the only one that can't be argued with. From this day forward, you will follow a new command. It is simple. It is direct. It is uncompromising. Stop explaining yourself. Your actions will speak with a clarity your words could never achieve. If they don't understand, it's not your problem. Let them catch up later. Stop justifying your path. You don't need a jury to approve your ambition. The trail you blaze behind you will be your only justification. You don't need their permission to want what you want. Stop seeking consensus. A commander does not take a poll before ordering the charge. Your vision is not a democracy. You are in charge. Act like it. Let the world wonder what you are doing. Let them gossip. Let them speculate. While they are talking, you are building. While they are debating, you are executing. And when you are finished, you will not have to say a single word. Your success will be a roar that deafens their doubt. The work is the proof. The result is the verdict. Every time you feel that itch, that urge to tell someone what you're about to do, to show them your progress, recognize it for what it is. It is weakness. It is your addiction calling. It is the puppet inside you begging for a master. Crush that urge. Starve it of oxygen. Channel that energy back into the work itself. The craving for praise is a fire that will burn your empire to the ground before the first stone is laid. You have a choice. Let the validation of others define you, or let your results define you. The discipline is this: fall in love with the process, not the praise. Find satisfaction in the deliberate, focused, silent effort. Let the exhaustion from a day of hard, unseen labor be your reward. The world rewards finished work. It does not reward good intentions. It does not reward clever explanations. It rewards results. And results are born from silent, relentless, obsessive work. The work is the proof. The result is the verdict. Say it until it is etched into your soul. Your need for approval is a chain. Today you shatter it. Your new validation comes from one source and one source only: the undeniable, tangible, irrefutable reality of what you have built. Silence is your fortress. Your results will be your war horn. You have learned to mute the world. But the loudest enemy isn't outside the gates. It is the one inside your own skull. In Chapter 5, we will win the war in your head. Chapter 5. Let them be wrong. The end of argument. You have been conditioned to believe that you must fight. That when your ideas are challenged, you must defend them to the death. You have been taught that winning an argument is a sign of intelligence, a mark of strength. This is a lie, a trap designed to keep you distracted, drained, and weak. Look at the world around you. It's a battlefield of noise. People screaming their opinions online, in meetings, across the dinner table. They are not seeking truth. They are seeking validation. They are defending ego. And every time you step into that arena, you have already lost. Arguments are not contests of logic. They are contests of ego. Engaging in them is a guaranteed loss of your most precious resources. Your time and your mental peace. You trade irreplaceable focus for a moment of hollow, fleeting validation. You sacrifice your internal state for the approval of someone whose opinion, in the grand scheme, is irrelevant. That is a fool's bargain. The ultimate power move, the skill that separates the master from the amateur, is the discipline of allowing others to be wrong. Listen to that again. Let it sink in. You must learn to hear a flawed premise, a weak argument, or a flat-out lie, and make the conscious choice to let it stand. This is not weakness. It is not surrender. It is the highest form of strategic control. It is a declaration that your own peace is more important than their error. It is a recognition that your energy is a finite, precious commodity. You must begin to treat it as such. The mantra you will burn into your mind is this: my energy is a resource, not a weapon. Your energy is the fuel for your work, your goals, your life's purpose. Every time you engage in a pointless debate, you are siphoning that fuel into a black hole of ego. You are using a weapon where no war exists, firing cannons at ghosts. It's not about being a pushover, it's about understanding the battlefield. A true warrior knows which fights to ignore. Most arguments are not battles. They are distractions. They are traps laid by your own ego and the egos of others. Think of the last pointless fight you were in. An online debate with a stranger. A circular argument with a coworker about a trivial process. You spent an hour crafting the perfect rebuttal. Your heart rate climbed. Your focus shattered. And what did you gain? Nothing. Even if you won, the other person walked away resentful and unchanged, and you walked away depleted. You traded a piece of your life for nothing. You have a choice. When confronted, You feel that spark, that jolt of indignation. That is your ego demanding to be fed. The undisciplined person obeys that impulse every single time. But you are not undisciplined. You will learn to feel that spark and refuse to provide the fuel. You will observe your ego's demand and deny it. That's the key. Here is the tactical application. You are in a workplace meeting. You present an idea. A colleague, driven by their own insecurity, dismisses it with a comment that is logically unsound. The room watches. They expect conflict. They expect drama. The old you would have engaged immediately. Defended, attacked. The new you performs a simple, cold calculation. Does this argument have a material outcome? Will winning it secure funding, get a green light, or materially advance the project? Or is it just ego-driven noise? 99% of the time, it is noise. Your trained response is not to engage, but to disengage with authority. You hold the frame. You might say, an interesting perspective. I'll take that into consideration. Then you immediately pivot back to the objective. You do not get dragged into the mud. You let them have their moment. You let them be wrong. You don't need their permission to be correct. Your work, and the results it produces, will be the only verdict that matters. Let them believe they scored a point. Let their ego feel satisfied. It costs you nothing and saves you everything. While they are celebrating their tiny, imagined victory, you are moving the real strategy forward. You are conserving your firepower for the one decisive moment where it actually counts. The moment that determines budget, authority, or direction. My energy is a resource, not a weapon. You don't use a missile to kill a fly. It's beneath you. It's a waste. It's poor strategy. It's not about ignorance. It's about discipline. You still know they are wrong. You just don't have the compulsive, childish need to prove it to them. Your validation comes from your results, not from their concession. That is the fundamental shift. You have to decide that your forward motion is more important than their education. It is not your job to fix their thinking. It is your job to achieve your mission. The person who fights every battle on every front is exhausted, bitter, and ineffective. They win skirmishes and lose the war. The person who practices the discipline of disengagement has a vast reserve of energy and focus. They are calm. They are clear. When a true battle arrives, a battle with a material outcome, they enter it with overwhelming force, and they win decisively. Stop letting the world steal your power one pointless argument at a time. Your peace of mind is a fortress. Stop lowering the drawbridge for every insecure challenger who bangs on the gate. Let them shout. Let them posture. Let them be wrong. Inside your fortress, you are doing the work. You are building the empire. You have now learned the art of disengagement. You have built a dam to stop the leaks of pointless conflict, and a reservoir of focused energy is building behind it. Conserved energy, however, is useless if it remains stagnant. The next step is to learn how to channel that immense power, not into words, but into work. Not into announcements, but into accomplishment. That brings us to Chapter 6, Execute in Silence. The Power of Undisclosed Action. Chapter 6. Manufacture your own stillness. Stop waiting for the storm to pass. You are not a victim of your environment. You are not a leaf in the wind, helplessly tossed about by the chaos of the world, the demands of others, or the noise in your own head. That is the mindset of the feeble. You will discard it now. Peace is not a state you find. It is not a place you arrive at. It is an environment you build. It is a fortress you construct, brick by brick, inside your own mind. This is an active, daily discipline, not a passive wish. The world is engineered to distract you, to provoke you, to keep you in a state of constant, low-grade agitation. Your work is to engineer your own stillness against that chaos. This is not a suggestion. This is your new standard operating procedure. You will install this belief through relentless repetition until it becomes your reality. I am the architect of my own peace. I am the source of my own calm. Say it. Understand it. Your internal state is your responsibility, and yours alone. Blaming your anxiety on your job, your anger on another person, or your distraction on your phone is an abdication of power. It's the easy way out, and we are not here for easy. You have a choice. You can be a reactor, or you can be an architect. We will now issue the blueprints. These are your tools. These are non-negotiable drills for the construction of your internal fortress. They are not optional. First, the 3-second controlled breath, before any response. Always, an insulting email lands in your inbox. A colleague challenges you in a meeting. Someone cuts you off in traffic. The amateur reacts. The professional responds. In that sliver of time between stimulus and your reaction, you will build a firewall. It takes 3 seconds. Before you type, before you speak, before you act, stop. Inhale through your nose. A slow, controlled breath that fills your lungs. Exhale through your mouth. That is it. 3 seconds. This is not about calmness. It's about discipline. It's not about finding the perfect answer. It's about taking command of your impulse. In that space, you remind yourself who is in control. Not the email, not the insult. You are. In that space, you remember you have a choice. You choose clarity over. You choose strategy over raw emotion. Master this, and you master the moments that define your trajectory. Second, the strategic digital blackout. Your devices are designed to own you. The notifications, the endless scroll, the manufactured urgency. It is a prison disguised as a convenience. You will break out of it every single day. You will designate a period of time. 1 hour is the standard, no less, where all screens are off. No phone, no computer, no television. This is your scheduled blackout. It is non-negotiable. Put it on your calendar like a critical meeting. Let the world burn for that hour. It won't. Let the messages pile up. They can wait. You don't need their permission to disconnect. This drill serves 2 purposes. It starves the addiction to external validation and proves that you are the master of your attention, not the algorithm. This is where you practice being the source of your own calm, not sourcing it from the validation of a notification. That's the key. You are teaching your mind that it can and will function at a high level without constant external input. Third, the 5-minute silent reset. Sometime during your day, you will stop everything and reboot your system. Find a place where you can be alone. A parked car, an empty office, a bathroom stall. Set a timer for 5 minutes. And do nothing. Absolute silence. No guided meditations. No calming music. Just you and the noise in your head. Your mind will race. It will fight you. It will throw every worry, every to-do list item, every insecurity at you. Do not engage. Do not fight it. Observe it. Let the thoughts come and go like clouds. The purpose here is not to achieve a blank mind. The purpose is to practice detachment. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. For these 5 minutes, you are exercising the muscle of stillness. You are proving, in real time, that you are the architect of your own peace. Even when the raw materials are chaotic, you are the silent center of your own storm. These are not tricks. They are training. The 3-second breath before response. The daily digital blackout. The 5-minute silent reset. This is the work. It is the deliberate, repetitive action that forges a mind that cannot be easily shaken. Your moods will no longer be dictated by external events. Your focus will no longer be for sale to the highest digital bidder. You build your peace in the same way a mason builds a wall, one deliberate action at a time. Every time you deploy the 3-second breath, you lay a brick. Every completed digital blackout is another layer of mortar. Every silent reset reinforces the foundation. You are claiming ownership of your internal territory. I am the architect of my own peace. I am the source of my own calm. It is a declaration of sovereignty over your own mind. Stop searching for tranquility as if it were a lost object. It is not out there. It is in here, and it will not be found. It will be manufactured. It will be built by your discipline, your commitment, and your refusal to be a slave to impulse and distraction. The peace you crave is a direct result of the work you are willing to do. You have now been given the blueprints to construct an unshakable internal core. But a fortress, no matter how strong, is useless if it is not leveraged. Stillness is not the end goal. It is the platform from which you launch effective, precise, and powerful action. Now that you have learned to control your internal state, you must learn how to project that control outward. In our next chapter, we will weaponize this stillness. We will forge it into an instrument of absolute effectiveness. We move now to Chapter 7, The Unbreakable Focus. Chapter 7. Detach from your own destructive impulses. For 6 chapters, we have focused your discipline outward. We have conditioned you to master your time, your focus, your interactions, your work. We have built the armor. We have sharpened the sword. But all of that is worthless if the person wielding the weapon is their own worst enemy. The training now turns inward. Listen to me. The final opponent is not the demanding boss, the ungrateful client, or the chaotic world. The final opponent is you. It is the weak, reactive, undisciplined part of you that sabotages your every move. It is your ego, whining for recognition. It is your anger, lashing out at meaningless provocations. It is your fear, whispering that you are not good enough. These are the assassins that live inside your own mind, and until you master them, you will never be free. You will never truly be in command. Most people live their entire lives as puppets to their own emotions. A flicker of frustration pulls one string, a surge of anxiety pulls another. They believe their feelings are facts. They believe their impulses are orders. They are wrong. They are prisoners in a cell with a door that was never locked. Your task is to learn to see the door. This is the highest form of discipline. From this moment forward, you will drill a new technique. It is not optional. It is your primary protocol in the face of internal chaos. It is called pause and identify. It is brutally simple and profoundly difficult. When a destructive emotion surges, and it will, you will do the following. First, you stop. Whatever you are doing, you freeze. Do not speak. Do not type the angry email. Do not react. You create a hard stop in the chain of events. Second, you identify why. You look at the feeling with the cold detachment of a scientist observing a specimen in a jar. You give it a name. Not, I am angry. That is a lie. That is weakness. You will say, this is anger. You will say, this is impatience. You will say, this is the ego demanding validation. You label it. You objectify it. You separate it from your identity. You see it for what it is, a fleeting electrical storm in your brain. Nothing more. Third, you observe. You watch it. You feel its pull. You notice how it tries to hijack your body, your words, your decisions. But you do not act. You simply watch it rise, peak, and begin to fade, as all things do. This pause, this gap you create between feeling and action, that is where your power lives. That's the key. In that space, you reclaim your authority. In that space, you remember that you have a choice. The impulse can scream its orders, but you are the commander. You decide if those orders are followed. It's not about suppressing emotion. It's not about pretending you don't feel anything. That is the path of cowards and fools, leading to an inevitable explosion. This is about observation. This is about detachment. It's not about emotional weakness. It's about disciplined awareness. You are acknowledging the signal, but refusing to be a slave to the noise. This requires a new mantra. an operating principle that you will repeat until it becomes an automatic reflex, more deeply ingrained than the impulse to react. Burn this into your mind. I am the watcher of my thoughts, not a prisoner of them. When your pride is wounded and you want to lash out, you pause. You say to yourself, "This is the ego. I am the watcher of my thoughts, not a prisoner of them." When fear tells you to quit, to play it safe, to shrink from the challenge, you pause. You say, "This is fear. I am the watcher of my thoughts, not a prisoner of them." When impatience urges you to cut corners and accept sloppy work, you pause. You say, "This is impatience. I am the watcher of my thoughts, not a prisoner of them." You repeat it until the emotion is just an object you are holding, not a current that is sweeping you away. You don't need your anger's permission to be calm. You don't need your fear's permission to be courageous. You don't need your ego's permission to be humble and focused. They are advisors, not dictators, and you are the one who sits on the throne. This is the ultimate mastery. The ability to sit calmly in the storm of your own mind, to see the lightning and hear the thunder, but to remain the unmoved center. Everyone can act decisively when they feel good. Everyone can be disciplined when they are motivated. But the true master, the person of unbreakable will, is the one who can execute with precision when their mind is screaming at them to do the opposite. This is your new standard. Every moment of irritation is a training opportunity. Every surge of anxiety is a chance to drill. Every temptation to react emotionally is a test of your discipline. You will welcome these tests. You will seek them out. Because each time you successfully pause, identify, and observe, you forge a stronger link in the chain of your self-control. Each time, you choose a disciplined response over a primal reaction. You take back territory from the enemy within. The battle is won or lost in that gap. That sliver of a second is the difference between a master and a slave. Remember the mantra. I am the watcher of my thoughts, not a prisoner of them. That is where you find your strength. That is where you find your freedom. You have learned to control your environment and your output. You have now been given the tools to control your internal state. You are no longer at the mercy of your own destructive impulses. You are the commander of your mind. You have learned to build the armor and wield the sword. You have learned to conquer the enemy within. Now, in our final chapter, we will forge all of this training into a single, permanent state of being. We will solidify your foundation so that it never cracks. Welcome to Chapter 8, Forging Your Unbreakable Will. Chapter 8, The Unbreachable Fortress of a Silent Mind. We have arrived at the end. This is not another lesson. It is the final assembly. All the components we have forged in fire, the discipline, the silence, the control, now lock into place. What you have built, piece by painful piece, was never meant to remain as separate tools in a box. They are the steel, the concrete, and the unbreachable code for the fortress you will now inhabit. This is the synthesis. This is the culmination of your work. The glass wall you learn to construct is the outer perimeter. It is the first line of defense. It separates you from the meaningless noise of the world. The chatter, the opinions, the emotional storms of others. They hit the wall, and they evaporate. They are data, nothing more. The death of your need for validation is the guard at the gate. That desperate, weak part of you that once begged for a scrap of praise or recoiled from a sneer has been starved into submission. It no longer controls who enters your mind. You decide. You don't need their permission to be excellent. You don't need their applause to know your worth. That's the key. The gate to your mind opens only on your command, for your purpose, and the manufactured stillness you engineered. That is the command center. Deep inside the fortress, where no unauthorized signal can penetrate, sits the real you. Calm, silent, watching the world on a screen, analyzing the data from the outer walls, and making decisions from a place of absolute zero. This is the unbreachable fortress of a silent mind. Nothing enters without your explicit permission. Think about what that means. An insult is launched your way. In your past life, it would have pierced your armor and poisoned you for days now. It hits the glass wall. Your internal command center registers it. You observe the words, the tone, the intent behind them. You analyze the source, and then you choose to let it fall away into nothing. It has no power. It was never absorbed. You have a choice. Remember that. You always have a choice about what you let inside. It's not about ignorance. It's about discipline. It's not about pretending the world doesn't exist. It's about refusing to let the world dictate your internal state. From this fortress, you no longer react. You operate. You move through the world with absolute purpose. Your focus is no longer a flickering candle, battered about by every gust of wind from the outside. It is a laser. It is sharp as a blade because it is protected from all distraction. You set a target, and the beam does not waver until the objective is complete. The drama of your colleagues, the anxieties of the market, the political theater. It is all just weather happening outside your walls. It does not touch your mission. You become immune to manipulation. The primary tools of the manipulator are emotion and ego. They praise you to make you compliant. They shame you to make you weak. They stoke your fear to make you predictable. But inside your fortress, those tools are useless. Praise is observed as data but not absorbed as fuel. Shame cannot penetrate the walls of self-command. Fear is analyzed, planned for, and neutralized before it can become an emotion. You see their attempts for what they are, crude levers, being pulled on a machine that no longer exists. Your decisions become ruthlessly effective. They are clear because they are not clouded by the fog of emotion, the need to please, or the fear of judgment. You are a professional. A surgeon does not ask the patient's family for their opinion in the middle of a complex operation. A pilot does not take a poll of the passengers on how to land in a storm. They act with the cold, hard clarity of their training and intention. That is who you have become. You are an operator, not a reactor. This new reality, this fortress, this power, it is defined by a simple, final mantra. This is not a goal to strive for. It is not an affirmation you whisper to yourself in the hope it will one day be true. It is a statement of fact. It is the constitution of your new identity, written in steel. Memorize it, inhabit it, become it. I observe without absorbing. I act with intention. I am the silence in the storm. Let's break it down one last time, so there is no misunderstanding. I observe without absorbing. This is your wall. This is your power of perception, owned to a razor's edge, but with an impenetrable barrier behind it. You see everything. You miss nothing. But the filth of the world does not stick to you. The emotional baggage of others is not yours to carry. I act with intention. This is the death of the puppet. You are never again pulled by strings you cannot see. Every word you speak, every action you take, every minute you invest is a deliberate choice aligned with your mission. There are no accidents. There are no reactions. There is only purpose. I am the silence in the storm. This is your core. This is the final state of being. The world will continue to rage. The chaos will never stop. Let it. The storm is external. It is irrelevant. Inside your fortress, at the very center of your being, there is stillness. There is quiet. There is control. You are the eye of the hurricane, the unshakable point of peace and power around which the entire world spins. This is your reality now. The work is done. The fortress is built. Your watch begins now and does not end. You are the guard, the gate, and the silent commander within. There is nothing left to learn. There is only a life to be lived. On your terms, by your design, in your silence. You began this journey as a sponge, absorbing every drop of chaos the world threw at you. That ends today. You are no longer a sponge. You have built the glass wall. You know the high cost of other people's weather, and you refuse to pay it. You have silenced the need for validation because the work is the only proof you require. You let others be wrong because your energy is too valuable to waste on the ego of others. You manufacture your own stillness, a deliberate act of will in a world of constant noise. You have detached from your own destructive impulses. You are the watcher of your thoughts, not their slave. Your mind is now a fortress. It is disciplined. It is silent. It is yours. You do not react. You assess. You do not absorb. You observe. You are not drawn into the fire. You watch it from a distance and choose your next decisive move. The training you just received is over. Your discipline has just begun. The world will test you every single day from this moment forward. Go out and prove you have listened. Prove it not with words, but with silence, with focus, with action. Your work begins now.